Welcome back to Fun Facts Online. Today, we are digging into a technology that sounds like it was ripped straight from the pages of a cyberpunk novel. But it is actually happening right now in laboratories in Sweden. We are talking about a world where the soil itself is alive, not just with biological roots and microbes, but with a hum of electricity that actively encourages plants to grow faster, stronger, and more efficiently. This is the story of electronic soil, or eSoil, and how it is rewriting the rules of agriculture. To really understand the magnitude of this innovation, we first need to look at the problem it solves. We know that humanity is facing massive pressure on agricultural systems. We are moving toward a population of 10 billion, and traditional farming is struggling with soil degradation, water scarcity, and fertilizer runoff. This has led to the boom of hydroponics. You have likely seen this technology, growing plants without soil, usually vertical farming in high-tech towers in the middle of cities. It is brilliant because it saves up to 90% of the water used in traditional farming and optimizes space. We can grow food in abandoned subway tunnels or shipping containers. But here is the catch that people rarely talk about. Hydroponics has a dirty secret. Even though plants don't need dirt for nutrients, their roots still need something to hold on to, a physical support structure. For decades, the industry standard has been a material called mineral wool, often known by the brand name rock wool. Now, mineral wool is effective, but it is environmentally costly. It is made by melting volcanic rock at incredibly high temperatures, around 1600 degrees Celsius, and spinning it into fibers. It consumes vast amounts of energy to produce, and once you have harvested your crop, that rock wool cannot be composted. It is non-biodegradable and often ends up sitting in landfills indefinitely. Furthermore, it is what scientists call an inert material. It holds the plant up, but it doesn't do anything else. It is a dumb material in a smart farm system. This is where the researchers at Link and number 246 Peen University in Sweden saw a massive opportunity. Led by Professor Eleni Stavrinidou of the Electronic Plants Group, they asked a simple question. What if the substrate wasn't just a passive holder? What if it could actively participate in the plant's growth? And what if it could be biodegradable and electronic at the same time? This led to the genesis of eSoil. Let's break down the science of what this material actually is, because the chemistry is fascinating. The team needed a structure, so they turned to nature's most abundant biopolymer, cellulose. This is the stuff that gives plant cell walls their stiffness, the main ingredient in paper and cotton. They used cellulose nanofibers to create a sponge-like scaffold that roots could easily penetrate. But cellulose is an insulator. It doesn't conduct electricity. To electrify this soil, they coated the cellulose fibers with a very specific conductive polymer known as PEDOT, PSS. If you haven't heard of PEDOT, PSS, don't worry. The important thing to know is that it is a mixed ionic electronic conductor. This is the magic bridge. It can conduct electrons, like the wiring in your house, but it can also conduct ions, like the salts and minerals inside a biological organism. This dual capability makes it the perfect interface between the rigid world of electronics and the fluid world of biology. Plus, unlike many other conductive materials, it is chemically stable and non-toxic to plants, meaning it is safe to introduce into the food chain. The result is eSoil. It looks like a dark, porous sponge, almost like rich black earth, but it functions like a bioelectronic circuit board. But making it is one thing, proving it works is another. To test this, the Link and number 246 Ping team conducted a rigorous study using barley seedlings. Now, this choice of plant is significant. Usually, hydroponics is reserved for leafy greens like lettuce and basil because they have short cycles. Grains like barley are rarely grown indoors because they take too long. If they could prove this worked on grains, it would open up huge possibilities for food security. This setup was simple but precise. They had a control group growing in the eSoil without electricity, and a stimulated group growing in the eSoil with a low-voltage electrical field applied to the root zone. And just to be clear, this isn't like the old experiments from the 19th century, where they blasted plants with high voltage. This system used a gentle, precise touch, consuming only microwatts of power. You could run an entire tray of these seedlings on the energy stored in a small battery. The stimulation wasn't even constant. It was applied during specific windows of the growth cycle. The results after 15 days were staggering. The barley seedlings in the electrically stimulated eSoil showed up to 50% more growth in dry weight compared to the control group. Their roots were longer and more complex, and the shoots were more robust. Professor Stavrinidou noted that they could get seedlings to grow faster with fewer resources. A 50% increase isn't a margin of error. That is a statistical leap. So how does it work? This is where we get into the secret electrical language of plants. We often think of animals as the electric beings. Our nerves fire with electrical impulses. But plants are electric beings too. When a Venus flytrap snaps shut, that is an electrical impulse. Plants use slow-moving electrical waves to signal stress, injury, or the presence of food. They eat by moving ions, which are charged particles like nitrate or potassium, across their root membranes. The Link and number 246 Peen study revealed a crucial mechanism regarding nitrogen assimilation. Nitrogen is the fuel for plant growth. It is the building block of chlorophyll. The study found that the electrically stimulated plants were significantly more efficient at processing nitrogen. The hypothesis is that the electrical field generated by the eSoil interacts with the ion channels in the root cells. It might be physically opening the gates, allowing the plant to uptake nutrients more easily, or it might be energizing the enzymes responsible for converting nitrate into usable compounds. Essentially, the electricity acts as a metabolic turbocharger. When we compare eSoil to the traditional mineral wool, the benefits are overwhelming. Mineral wool requires high-energy furnaces to produce, creates landfill waste, and is passive. eSoil is made through low-energy chemical synthesis, is fully biodegradable, and actively stimulates growth by 50%. It aligns perfectly with the principles of a circular economy. The implications of this technology extend far beyond just growing a bigger salad. This could revolutionize vertical farming. Right now, vertical farms stick to high-value greens. But if eSoil can boost growth rates by half, the economics change completely. We could see bread towers in cities, growing staple calories like wheat and barley locally, drastically reducing the carbon footprint of shipping grain across oceans. It also has massive implications for urban food security. As cities become denser, eSoil could allow for highly efficient food production in small spaces, integrated into smart home gardens. But perhaps the most exciting frontier is space agriculture. If we are going to send humans to Mars or build a lunar colony, resources will be incredibly scarce. You cannot bring heavy bags of soil, and you cannot afford to waste water or fertilizer. eSoil is lightweight, dry until watered, and highly efficient. It is the perfect substrate for the hydroponic bays of a starship. Furthermore, because the soil is conductive, it creates an electronic interface with the plant. This paves the way for cyborg farms. The soil could theoretically act as a sensor. If a plant is stressed or thirsty, its electrical signature changes. The eSoil could read that signature, and the farm's computer could instantly adjust the water or nutrient mix. It allows for two-way communication between the plant and the farmer. It is worth noting that this idea isn't entirely new. In the 1700s, a French physicist named Ab and number 233, Nollet observed that plants grew faster when electrified. This sparked a movement called electroculture. In the early 20th century, farmers were erecting giant copper antennas to channel atmospheric electricity into the ground. But back then, it was inconsistent and often drifted into pseudoscience. The difference today is the control. eSoil is the science to electroculture's magic. We aren't using random atmospheric static. We are using engineered molecular materials and precise voltage regulation, backed by peer-reviewed studies in journals like the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Of course, there are challenges ahead. Creating cellulose nanofibers in a lab is different from manufacturing tons of it for commercial farms. The process needs to be industrialized, and the cost will initially be higher than cheap mineral wool. We also need to study the long-term effects on the full life cycle of the plant. Does the fruit taste different? Is the nutritional profile altered? Early data on nitrogen suggests it might actually be better, but more research is needed. In conclusion, we are standing on the precipice of a new agricultural era. For 10,000 years, farming has been a chemical process: sun, water, and nutrients. Now we are adding physics. Electronic soil represents a shift from treating plants as passive biological machines to treating them as active, responsive systems integrated with technology. As we look toward a future where we must feed more people with less land, the solution might not just be in better seeds or stronger fertilizers. The solution might be under our roots, humming with the quiet, invisible power of the electron. The soil of the future is here, and it is electric. Thanks for listening to Fun Facts Online.